Hello, hello, and welcome to the Office Hours, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul, Berserker01, Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender to the Astropub. Give me a few more seconds, and I will be with you. Just kind of behind on some of this stuff. And I'll explain here in a reason. A few seconds. I didn't say 4 seconds. I said a few seconds. How many is a few? A few. All right. So, those of you on YouTube are probably watching this and either getting angry or agreeing, and that's kind of the point. I will be explaining here in a moment. I'll also be doing it in a way that is, I feel, more rational to deal with. All right, there we go. Finishing chicken wings? No. I have not eaten a chicken wing in... Fuck. Close to 2 years? I literally can't remember the last time I ate a chicken wing.
You can take away my spaceship.
Spaceship.
Take away my space suit.
Suit.
You can even take away my space lasers.
No pew-pews.
But you can never,
Never.
ever take away my space game.
All right. Thank you so much. There, one on Mars Gaming. Or, that's what it was, Author one. With Twitch Prime for 8 months. You're a very important public, my man. Shots and cheers. Let's get some of that in chat. And then let me switch this over to the office. Okay, wait. Switch this back to... There we go. Go to the office. Woo! Hello and welcome. Wow, I am very tiny. I forgot to fix this one too. So I've done some more work. But as a result, I am very tiny now. I could switch it up. Let me try something. That's a little better. Just messing around with some stuff. I still need to move my my camera around a little bit though. There we go. And I still need to screw with this color. I did some changes over the weekend, and it's kind of messed some things up. There we go. There we go. All right. I am back, and I'm going to pop some stuff out here. Welcome to the Office Hours. As you can probably tell, this is a live show where I do live things. William, Gravity, Vikram, Jeremy, Sparkplug, OC, Atuk, Gravity, Griffin, Firefly, Max, Midnight Black SC, Spudgy, Something on the bottom edge. Oh. There, it's gone now. It's gone now, but I am huge now. Hold on. Nah. Yeah, that's fine. All right. All right, there you go. Sci-fi, thank you for gifting those 10 subs, you absolute mad lad. Thank you, my man. Shots and cheers in chat, y'all. Shots and cheers. Do you need your salt back? No, you don't. We'll do this here in a moment. Someone asked a question earlier. Is there any news on better asteroids? They're the better asteroids that they have the better asteroids in game. They're in the OM points. So if you go to the orbital markers, not the OM points, the Lagrange points, the L stations, the crew L whatever, and you know, all those Lagrange stations. Lagrange stations are the ones that have all the new asteroid tech. But we're probably not going to see enough. Oh, Sci-Fi with a tier 3 sub for 32 months, my man. Yeah, the rest stops. You want to hear about the Odyssey? All right, so let's talk about the Odyssey here in a moment. I am going to do what I've been doing recently is taking out a section of every office hours and publishing it. Sometimes I choose not to because I don't think it's up to the quality that I'm used to. But I always like to do them, especially with hot topics. And so I want to kind of have a good, nice, solid think about something. And I do want to talk about it. So with that in mind, let me change some stuff up. Let me change my volume too, because I think it's way too high. There we go. I'll turn this down. All right. So let's pull up the Q&A. And I'm going to have to turn off the transitions. Shouldn't fade. All right. So right now I'm going to kind of talk with the camera, and feel free to bring this up later. If you have questions afterwards, let me know. We'll talk, but I do want to kind of talk about everything. So let's get started. I gotta get that out for, because I know it's going to happen. I also seem a little off still. Yeah, that's a little better. I don't look a little bit as hazy as I used to. All right. Definitely have to figure something out, though. My camera placement and everything. Whew. All right. Let's try this now. Actually, let me do the presentation first, because I want to make sure I'm in the right camera. Okay, so the camera is off significantly with this one. And there we go. And the desktop is the wrong desktop. It's got to be desktop 1, because that's got to change that as well. Nope, that's not it either. Desktop 2? No, it's desktop 3. Play 3. There we go. I think I checked that. All right. Let's get to the recording. Hello and welcome to one of these asides. I guess I've been calling them bar talk. Maybe bar talk. We'll just do that or office chat. This is where I talk a little bit to you individually on YouTube, as well as to the live audience. We're streaming live here on Twitch. We do this every Thursday and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern, and every Saturday and Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern for your pleasure. Come watch us live when we do this, especially on Thursdays when we do the office hours themselves. But I do like to pull some of these out every so often as a discussion with you, the audience, with people kind of watching. And I'm going to get started by saying the Odyssey is a bad explorer. I'm going to say it again, nice and clearly. The Odyssey is not a good explorer. Now let me explain. So, the Odyssey is effectively a jack-of-all-trades ship. Let's look through the Q&A and let me highlight this. So, here we are in the Q&A. There's a lot of information here, and let me blow up some of this because it's a little small. So, what materials can the Odyssey refine? And does material refine go straight to the fuel tanks or to the cargo bay? The Odyssey can refine quantanium and hydrogen into fuel. The refinery solely exists to extend the ship's range, and refined fuel goes straight to the fuel tanks rather than the cargo bay. So, this means that effectively, the ship is only designed to mine and refine for its own extension, which on paper sounds like a great idea. Of course, extends your range, so you're no longer you're still a trader. You're still doing explorer. You're doing explore things. And you can even refine you don't have to pay the gas prices. Here's the problem. We have no idea how rare quantanium is going to be. So we don't know where you can find quantanium. That's not settled yet. That whole mechanic hasn't really been finalized. We have an idea now, but that's probably going to change when we start seeing multiple jump points. And how, as a result, as a ship, you're entirely dependent on an entirely different gameplay mechanic, which you're not interested in if you're an explorer. If you're an explorer, you want to go brave new worlds, make love to alien women or commit genocide, one of the two. I don't know. It's exploration and humans we're talking about. We do a lot of stupid things when we do that. But as a result, you're probably not into mining and refining as an explorer. You might be. That's fine. But on top of that, you're going to have to worry about that. So as a result, you're never going to be able to plan long distance voyages with the Odyssey. You're going to have to plan shorter trips and hope to find more fuel, which means that your ability to explore and to push the frontier is limited. So you got that problem going for you, which is bad. Is the Odyssey able to refine materials from other ships? No. So there's no way for you to use any of the refining, material refines. You cannot use it as a refinery at all, which honestly makes it a little bit bad for the one type of exploration that it seemed like they were going for, which is surveying, mineral surveying. So, in comparison to characters, the Odyssey have the capacity to conduct jump point scanning. The Odyssey does not have the ability to map jump points to the same extent as the Carrack, which remains the best current ship for a particular role. In general, all ships will be able to detect jump points. The Carrack is simply better at doing it and from much greater ranges. So the Carrack has better scanners for jump points. So with the Odyssey, you're not exploring jump points. Another tick is to the Odyssey is not an exploration ship. Specialized map scanners, if any, does the Odyssey have? I don't see any detected scanning mapping rooms or equipment. What tools does it give the crew for exploration and making discoveries? I'm going to read this very carefully and very slowly so you can hear this. There are no dedicated rooms or specialized equipment as default, but that doesn't mean that the Odyssey isn't capable of performing these functions. A lot of future exploration gameplay mechanics will be driven from stations using MFDs, so the lack of a dedicated room doesn't stop the activity from happening. However, ships that have dedicated rooms for specific features will have buffs to their abilities as a result. If you want to improve scanning functionality of the Odyssey, there is multiple ships that excel in that role that will fit in the hangar, such as the Anvil F-7CR and Terrapin. So, it's nearsighted. It has the same kind of scanners as most other ships would have in its size, let's just say. But it's not exploration scanners. This is tangentially saying that things like the Carrack, even the Corsair, which have dedicated sensors, are better at exploring than the Odyssey. And we had this discussion in the Discord about, like, well, we don't know what exploration gameplay is. And the answer is, we don't know what exploration gameplay is. But based off of the way the current system is being developed, it's quite obvious that data is going to be a big part of exploration. And if you don't have full abilities to capture that data, then you are going to be at a disadvantage. So you are nearsighted, reliant on another ship, which you cannot buy, which you have to buy separately from your ship to be able to use the ship. It can't find jump points. Well, it can, but it's, again, nearsighted. It can only refine its own fuel. It has no other flexibility around that. This isn't an explorer ship. What's the biggest difference between the Odyssey and the Carrack? The biggest difference is the Carrack's specialization in various areas, such as jump point scanning and mapping, onboard drones, and repair facilities, and its 3 module cargo bays that can be outfitted for future various purposes beyond cargo. The Odyssey, however, favors a more generalized approach with the flexibility to do a lot of separate roles depending on how you equip it with onboard ships, ground vehicles, and supplies. This, again, another box away from it not being an exploration ship. It's a variety ship. It doesn't have the same sort of tools that an explorer would need. It can explore, but I can explore in my Aurora. That doesn't mean it's a good exploration ship. Can the Odyssey refuel, or is it limited to vehicles and hangar? The Odyssey can only refuel ships landing in its hangar via on-foot manual refueling. This is a problem, because in the Carrack Q&A, they say that they can use hoses and siphon from the tanks themselves to refuel the Pisces, and which would assume that you could then pull from the tank of the Odyssey as well. But in the Liberator, they explicitly said that there is no refuel fuses. You have to use fuel that you carry in the cargo bay to refuel your ships. So but even though the Carrack, or I should say the Pisces Q&A, says that all ships that have hangars have the ability to tank off of, be able to like essentially top off their snub ships or their carrier-bound ships with interior fuel reserves. But that's contradicted by the Liberator. So there is some problems there. But again, that really doesn't say that it's an explorer. It just says that you can refuel. And at best, you can use its own fuel reserves, which then limits its range even further. And at worst, it has to take up cargo space that is already limited compared to its competitor. How can the mailbox... I'm not even going to deal with that. That's fine. It's fine. Y'all are being mean about this. Stop bullying misc ships. Stop bullying. They're fine. You get plenty, you see plenty, all right? It's already nearsighted enough. Stop bullying it. An XL hangar generally refers to what community calls small ships. Non-exhaustive list of ships includes. So this is not an exhaustive list, but these are all things that can fit in it. Which is funny because it can't fit the Reliant in it, which is okay. Misk built a ship. They can't even put their own exploration ship in. All right. What are the rings you can see in people standing in the background of the sector? Some kind of Xi'an tech. The Odyssey leverages a lot of Xi'an tech in its construction, and the image below shows the main personnel lift. The top hangar also uses Xi'an tech to fold in the roof. So yeah, we got the little rings here. Let me do this real quickly so it doesn't look quite as bad. All right. Do the size 4 shields on this large ship mean that the new component size category between large and capital is added? Capital components are the same as size 4 components. We have 5 sizes in game. The terms are often interchangeable. 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 4 being capital. And while I've heard a lot of people go like, oh, capital class shields, yes! Why do you care for an explorer? If this is an exploration ship, why does it need capital class shields? Oh, well, to take a hit. Why is it taking a hit? Why are you fighting in an exploration ship? It's bloat. It's something you don't really need for a ship like that already. And on top of that, it's going to cost more to repair because it's a capital class things. These are things that you have to take into account late down the line. So this is another thing. The standalone Odyssey comes with no ships or ground vehicles, so you have to buy them yourselves. How much space is there for ground vehicles? This is the only good factor I would say from this Q&A, which is that the cargo area and the vehicle bays are separate. They're the same, but that's kind of like the cargo area for the bay is dedicated to cargo. You could put a vehicle there, but there are places where you could put a single Ursa rover and still have cargo. So that's a little bit better. You don't lose cargo space by adding a vehicle like you do from other ships. But it can't take a Nova or a Ballista or a Spartan. I mean, it's not so bad, but I mean, makes sense. All right, so what does this mean? It means that the Odyssey is not a Carrack killer. It is the Carrack's overweight neighbor who's well-meaning and is very good at a lot of different things, but just does not compete with the Carrack when it comes to exploration. It is a kind of jack-of-all-trades ship. The problem with that, in my mind, is that as a jack-of-all-trades ship, it's expensive as hell. It is a very expensive ship for its price, for its abilities. A lot of which are dependent on gameplay, like refueling, which we don't have in game yet, and are variable and toss-up. So it's a lot of money to ask for a ship that even CIG doesn't seem to fully understand what it is yet. Does that mean that this is bad? Not at all. The Odyssey is not a bad ship. It's just not something I would necessarily leap out of bed for an explorer. And I would highly caution anybody who is losing their mind about it by doing so. At the same time, does that mean that the Carrack is good or is still the best ship? I've talked about this before. The Odyssey is not an overpowered, it doesn't beat the Carrack. They're complementary. You use them together for certain roles. It's just that the Odyssey has, because of some of those limitations they've added, has become less valuable for the role that was seemingly intended at first. So, but that's my thoughts. I'm going to answer some questions and see some comments here from the chat. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe, like, do those other things, and let me know in the comments below your own thoughts. Do you think I'm insane? Do you think you're right? And this is the best exploration ship ever, period. Go to hell, Paul. That's also off. That's completely wrong, because we all know that's the Endeavor. That's a different topic. YouTube.com/InfoRunners. Join the cult of the Endeavor. But let me know in your comments below. And as always, remember, well, I'll do it twice. And as always, remember, ex Historia ad Astra. And I'll see you someday in the black. I did it reversed. Letting the music play in the backgrounds for the outro. Smooth segue. I did great, Dad. Thanks, kids. The Odyssey is a snail. Yeah, I think it's the best way of saying it. It's a snail. It's a turtle. It'll get there in the end. It's just gonna take its time. It's a fat freelancer. Yeah, it's a fat lancer. It should have been 450, 500. I agree. If the ship was even the same price as the Carrack, I would have been okay with it. If it was like $600, I'd have been like, wow, perfect. Same price as the Liberator, but it does its own thing. It's the same class as the Liberator, really. Like the Liberator is kind of in the same kind of ballpark as these other ships as well. That would be a perfect kind of like here are all these new ships that we're working on, which are all in the same class, so you can see we're working on big stuff. Like, I don't even see discussions of the Liberator when it comes to the Odyssey. The Odyssey is actually more of a competitor to the Liberator than it is a competitor to the Carrack. Just because, like, the Liberator can't refuel its ships very well, but it carries more ships. And, you know, but it has about the same amount of cargo as the Odyssey, but the Odyssey has this ability to refuel itself, which makes it a little bit more reliable to stay out longer if it needs to. It's a house you can explore as opposed to an exploration ship. It's really an extension of the 400i. If you have a 400i, it kind of goes after the 400i in terms of its value. Actually, I know what I can do. Hold on. Give me a moment. I'm going to do something stupid. Hold on, chat. Give me a moment, chat. Doing something stupid. Those are things. I'm pulling a Or did I lose that? No. Well. I guess I'll fix it later. I dropped something. Maybe I can just push it down. Nah, I can't push it down. I realized that I'm doing something stupid. What I should be doing is lowering my screen and not lowering my camera. But, you know. C'est la vie. Lost my tool for it as well. Actually, no, I didn't. Now I'll fix it. Find it. No, that's the wrong one too. I feel like I'm missing one. Aha. I am a genius. Work in progress, y'all. Work in progress. But if you have the Odyssey in a pack, I don't think there's an Odyssey in a pack. I think it does have some.
Weapons free, y'all.
I am a little upset that CIG seems to just take their sweet time on ships like this versus the versus for the Q&As versus, you know, the Spartan, which had a Q&A day one. And you think the Raft even had a Q&A day one. That's a little disingenuous, CIG. I get that you got to find people to talk with them, but you had those. You should have had those questions up for a while. The Endeavor should deliver a sci-fi spaceship feel very well with the different available modules. Yes. So I look a lot better now. Everything looks good. I fixed my camera, and all I had to do was change my screen so it wasn't as weird. Yep. Expanse Season 6. They announced an Expanse Telltale game, which I am not excited for. Of all the things to create a Telltale game, I get that you're like, the story is important, but like the universe is what people like. Yeah, they announced it at the Game Awards this morning, or today, which was this evening, which was that Telltale is doing an Expanse game. What's below underwhelmed? Super, or there is some word for like extremely like low, extremely like bottom. There's a Latin term for it. I can't remember. Or Greek or something. Infrawhelmed. There we go. Infrawhelmed. That's a good one. Infrawhelmed. Have I gone over Gravity Tech yet? No, we can talk about Gravity Tech. That looks fine. Bar drones from Vulcan fit on the Carrack, so the Carrack can siphon off fuel more than the Odyssey. We don't really know. That's the problem, is that's a little bit more of a speculation. The problem I have is I know a lot of people I've seen a lot of people go like, it's a fine exploration ship. It does what it's supposed to. Hello, how long until Shellyville? Shellyville. Thank you for the $25. I have no idea what you're talking about. Shellyville. There, Christopher Marr. Like a town made up of me? A family town. Everyone's going to take the name Shelly. God. I don't want to make Space Alabama. What are you talking about? Sanswhelmed, nonplussed. I think it spells doom for the Infrared's refinery. No, I don't think it does. I think the refinery is obviously going to be the first version of refining like stuff, and it has the ability to deposit and withdraw goods. I don't know if it may mean that that refinery, that it will lose its ability to refine everything when they release the refinery ship. Kind of like how the tier 3 bed lost its ability to respawn when they had that, but. I'm less plus than that though. Expanse could have been like a DLC for Star Citizen. It deserves more than Telltale. Yeah. Like I said, I think a isometric 3D RPG or semi-open world, like something like. Has anyone played Sid Meier's Pirates? It's an old game. Even the remake is old now. But something like that. Something like that would work with the Expanse, where you can like choose factions to back, get those kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like there's a story that you tell that's obviously in the Expanse universe that kind of maybe goes along the side the Expanse stuff. But apart from the dancing was fantastic. I don't know what you're talking about. Lorville shall fall. Oh, I am taking over Lorville. we doing. It's not gonna be called. I think Shellyville is good. I would accept Shellyville, though I would prefer Shellygrad. Yeah, and that Mass Effect RPG style could work, but I think a more resource management, moving your ship, using your ship to fight other ships, something that's more of like a classic turn-based RPG, or like not even RPG, like an RPG mixed with like a strategy, turn-based, but like grand scale would work. But yeah. Yeah, Crusader Kings 2 would work too. Like something that's more granular, but you can still tell stories. The term concept ship is quite literal. Not even CIG seems to be fully understand. But how long until Shellyville? The answer is, like, if we're talking, or if this is Project Shellyville, which is the name of the revolution to overthrow the Hurstons and take over Lorville, at least a year. We've got to wait until CIG allows us to carry weapons in a green zone, which is probably more than a year away, but it could be sooner, depending on how CIG does things. Like an RTS like Sins of the Solar Empire, yeah, except you control one ship. That's the thing. Like, I think doing a, like, team-based, ship-based RPG strategy where you have, say, your crew that you have to manage. Sid Meier's Pirates mixed with FTL. That would be a fantastic Expanse game. That would be a fantastic Expanse game. And then on top of that, I'd love to see an Expanse game where it's similar to I guess Star Citizen, but not really Star Citizen. Pulsar, where you have 5 people working together in a ship to survive, doing missions to survive, and going from like station to station, and like hopping off the stations, maybe doing some away missions, that sort of thing, you know. Like Biotron, yeah, something like that. I'd love to see that in the 3D universe, though, rather than just 2D. VOY.FYI. I have no idea what that means. I'm so happy I didn't get this ship. It's not a bad ship. The Odyssey is not a terrible ship. It's just not a super explorer. There's just so many limitations. I didn't even bring up the fact that, like, you have to refill, like, you don't have sensors, so you have to use a ship to do sensors. And Terrapin's probably a fine ship to have, one of those sensors, use it as a sensor suite. But you're going to have to, like, refuel a Terrapin. So you're going to have to not just refuel your ship, but refuel the ships inside your ship. So that's going to be even slower and reduce your range even further. So it's a 400i upgrade. It's a touring ship, not an exploration ship. It's not as good as a Carrack for exploration. It's just a missed opportunity for the refinery. If they could refine even at a low scale the other materials, then you could mine other materials, because they don't say this here, but you may not even be able to mine anything but Quantanium. Like, where is where's the ore going? It's going straight to the refinery. So that entire system is designed for refueling only. So it's not even really a mining ship. That it's just sort of has a mining thing attached, which is pointless to use. How would I compare the Dur to the Odyssey? It's hard to tell because the Dur we don't know about. Like, the Dur has a refinery on it. We don't know if it can refine Quantanium at all. I love and hate the death mechanic. We're going to talk about the death mechanic here in a moment. Because we did release a recent video on regeneration. So the regeneration lore behind the regeneration, and there was a lot of like confusion in the comments. A lot of people were like, everyone. So we're immortal, so no one can die, so no one's going to be worried about dying, so they're just going to like kill themselves so they can go everywhere. And I didn't put it in there because I figured people knew what Death of a Spaceman was, but they may not. So this is kind of, I'm going to talk about a little bit of a kind of like an add-on, do another kind of little talk to the camera, and then talk with you guys about what Death of a Spaceman is and how it connects to the regen mechanic. Yeah, the Dur has a refinery. It has a refinery on board. That's all it says, is it has a refinery on board. The original thought was that it was just a hydrogen refinery, but that was also back when quantum fuel was used. You could use like hydrogen to create quantum fuel, which is why the Starfarer originally was able to like use its like giant collectors to refuel itself, including its quantum fuel. But as quantum fuel became a mineral rather than a gas, it became less valuable. So like just like the Starfarer needs like a place where you can deposit Quantanium, so you can, or any refinery, any material, but likely just Quantanium, to be able to process fuel. The Dur is either going to need one of those, or it's just going to be a giant hydrogen refinery, which will make it kind of useless. Yeah, it's spec'd for the old way of doing things. Well, they said it only only fuel for itself, not into the cargo. Exactly. So if it doesn't go to the cargo, then it's not designed for mining. So you basically have this is the problem with the Odyssey. It really doesn't know what it wants to be and claims it's an explorer. Like, I think someone said it's like if you go camping and the dude shows up, like me, a little overweight, but then shows up in like an RV and has a TV with them and a DVD player and Wi-Fi, like satellite Wi-Fi, and brings the like smoker with them, and he can't tie knots and is like brings a generator. It's like that kind of thing where it's like, it's not really good at roughing it in the woods, but it could do a lot of other things, just nothing really well. The Glamper, yeah. Not quite glamping, but close, yeah. Question, could we see Quantanium move from being rock mineable to a gas mineable? No, I don't think so. Not with all of because they're literally changing the Starfarer to have some sort of way you can dump material into it. They're actually giving like kind of its own attachment system, so. How do I update my Star Citizen launcher? It should auto update. If it's double check with the there's some like current specs you can pull up where it's like a current launcher is this, current launcher is that, and current version is this. If you don't see if your version is wrong, which you might just need to reinstall your launcher. Attachment port for mining containers, yeah. Odyssey looks like a mobile base, can move long range and carry machineries. That's true, but so can the Liberator. That's the thing. The only thing that the Liberator doesn't have is a mining capabilities. But I suspect Ship 4, the refinery ship that they voted for, will be announced sometime soon for concept. And if it's announced sometime soon for concept, I wouldn't be surprised if it's only slightly bigger than a Freelancer. And if it's slightly bigger than a Freelancer, it may be able to fit on a Liberator's deck, which would mean that effectively you could carry a Prospector and one of these refinery ships on that Liberator, and the Liberator is now better than a fucking like as good, if not better than an Odyssey, because it still has its micro hangar inside that you can store vehicles in or other smaller ships. Oh, they're doing a Dune 4X. Yeah, for those who don't know, the ISC heavily hinted that the hover vehicle that was at CitizenCon, that was voted on in CitizenCon, is going to be released in 3.16. And that's the other thing. Yeah, for $50 more, you get the Polaris, which is the same thing as the Odyssey, but with missiles. What's the word on mole refining? Is that going to be a thing? No, not that I know of. Odyssey doesn't seem well thought out. It doesn't. That's one of my issues. For $700, it's a weird kind of not finished ship. Yeah, they could have made the mining refinery cooler and have it pick up quantanium particles using scrubbers, like how the whale gets plankton. I understand why they wanted to make it. They wanted to make it mineable because it kind of intersects mining into refining, and intersects gas. So like the problem with having quantanium be a gas or a liquid would mean that effectively the Starfarer is self-sufficient and it doesn't require anybody else to help it, or any of the stuff, which was, I guess, that's the point, but they don't like that. And good gameplay is going to force players to work together because CIG wants to make the players be social. I know, social in an MMO. Fucking mind-boggling idea. But you're going to have to either talk with other players or NPCs to be able to fully implement what you want, which is, be it food or refueling or repairing or combat assistance or, resupplies, whatever. So no ship is self-sufficient, and even in its own loops. So that's why they moved it to quantanium to being a mineral. So it makes it a little bit more fun for miners, but also gives the refueling ships requirement to take in minerals from another loop. I said it before, the Odyssey is 700 because the Carrack is 600. It's a weird thing though. That's a weird, why is it 700 because the Carrack is 600? If it was the same price, it would have been better, but. Hey Jay, how you doing, buddy? Can we call a Starfarer, can we call a Starfarer exploration now? Because it can refine ores and ores. I mean, yeah. It could also, like, that's the thing about the Starfarer. Based off the current stats, the Starfarer is as equally as an exploration ship if it can, because it can resupply itself. It just doesn't have a mining attachment to it. But it can refill its miner. It can have a little prospector flying behind it. No medbay though. For the price of a Starfarer, which is what? Let's look at the Starfarer price real quick. Let's just look it up. The Starfarer is in-game $300. For the price of a Starfarer, or in-game it's 6 million UBC, but it's $300 to purchase. All right, let's look up the Apollo. The Apollo is 250. And let's look at the Prospector. 135 or 155. So for about the same price as an Odyssey, I can take a Starfarer, an Apollo, and a Prospector and get respawn, mining, refining, and refueling. And still have room for vehicles. And that's a fleet. You have 6 hours till your son finishes school. You need to stream until then? No. I love you, Chet, but no. No, Boo. No, it's not going to happen. I'll stream probably for another hour. Maybe 2. Probably 2 because I'm an idiot. I kind of do understand the Odyssey. It has a mini base that can fly around and explore with friends. Yes, but that's not really what it's designed or like what it's been kind of pitched as. It's pitched as a Carrack competitor, as the Carrack killer. And it's not. It never was, even before the Q&A. It's a toy hauler, but the problem about it being a toy hauler is what makes it better as a toy hauler than a Liberator? Like, are you going to sit here and tell me that we're not going to have like new what is it? We're not going to have some sort of portable refinery that we can buy? Some sort of like, device that we can carry on that will be like a cargo container? I guarantee you we're going to get something like that at some point. We're going to need to for like building bases or other things. That's kind of a temporary measure. So it can carry, it's a toy hauler though. It holds more. Like, that's my problem with it. Like, the more you think about it, the more you realize it has no role. Like, its role is to be a upgrade from the 400. It's the step you take after the 400 before you get a Kraken. Debatable. It's debatable if those six size fives would kill a Carrack. Because we don't know really the placement of it. That we don't know the full like defense capabilities of the Carrack yet, because we don't have armor values yet. Besides, why the fuck are 2 exploration vessels shooting each other? If you're worried about firepower, get a Polaris. It's $50 more and gives you everything except for the refining. They're shitting each other over at Jump Point claim. Well, I can tell you this, Ing. The Carrack's going to see the Odyssey well before the Odyssey sees the Carrack, because the Odyssey is blindsided. It's nearsighted. Pacifist Polaris. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. It's a pacifist Polaris with not enough like gimmick to make it really good at one thing, which is why I'm kind of like, it's not a bad ship. I can see the value in it, and I can see why people like it. I'm not here to shit on it. Like, I'm here to shit on the Redeemer every day of the week. But it's still... What are you? Like... You're paying for alien tech. So it's an alien... You're paying alien tax for something we don't know about yet. All right, let's look at some of this. As Newfighter said, the Odyssey is an overgrown freelancer. Yeah. Raftron. You want to see Raftron? Hold on. Let me show you Raftron. I got to change that again. Well, no, I'm not going to. Raftron! Raftron. But you forgot the futuristic elevator. If the Odyssey is sloth in the neighbor with no outdoor sense, the players is the guy down the street with a Hawaiian shirt and 10K night vision. Yes. And like 17 guns. Like 17 of the same gun. Is the player nearsighted? Because then both explorers are long dead. Not that we really know. I think it's apparently got a state-of-the-art scanning suite on it. So I'd assume no. The players is not nearsighted in comparison. I thought it was a specialized ship that can travel forever like a super long distance travel. No. It is dependent on being able to refine fuel. That's what the Odyssey is. So that's what I said earlier. It's like, it's super dependent on a gameplay mechanic we don't know anything about yet. We don't know how common Quantanium is. And because we don't, because of how the nature of how Star Citizen works, and especially the nature of being an explorer charting unknown territory, you don't know if there's fuel out there. You're hoping there is, which means that you're going to have limited range in comparison to a Carrack, which doesn't give a shit if it's fuel out there or not. It's just going to go. And I didn't say this, but this is likely, because this isn't like a confirmed thing, but likely what's going to happen is the Carrack being the dedicated big boy pants explorer ship, it will probably have longer like quantum capacity than the like just a bigger fuel tanks than the Odyssey does. Because the Odyssey, it makes sense also in design that Misk would say, we don't need big tanks. We just need to have, because we already have all this refuel capability. Let's just have smaller tanks with a lot of, with the ability to refuel itself so it can have longer endurance. So, but the problem with that is that now you're relying on the viability of Quantum being able to fill up not only your tanks, but your scout ship's tanks as well. Isn't hope the essence of the exploration? Copium, maybe. I don't know. Odyssey could be less expensive on a run because it's not buying fuel, but it has more parts to fix. Like, that's the other thing to remember, is that everything in a ship is going to be fixable and breakable. So wear and tear will be a thing, and you don't have onboard repair facilities that the Carrack has to be able to repair components and such. So that refinery will break down. It will have an end point where you're going to have to bring it back to repair it. It's just the reality, because CIG wants to build those sorts of things in. It'll also probably take up a large amount of power, so you're going to need a lot of power resources to be devoted to it, which may mean you can't run other systems while you're doing it, which means that your big beefy shield boy may not be able to run because it doesn't have enough power. Those are things we don't know about yet because they haven't implemented them in game yet. We already do know that power is going to be an issue. They want to make it so. Everybody hating on Chunky Boy Odyssey. The Fat Lancer? Yeah. Preparation is the essence of exploration, yes. You have to be prepared. So by preparing, you have to prepare for shorter distances. Because you have to prepare for shorter distances, it's already going to be a little bit... It's going to have a disadvantage to something like a Carrack, which doesn't have to worry about that. Because the Odyssey is not an explorer ship. It's a touring ship. Do I think physical damage will only be seen when salvage comes out? I don't know, but we do know that they're already working on salvage, or like this stuff. I saw a bunch of questions up here. Let me answer them. Okay, Paul asks, now that we know that the Carrack is forward scout and the Odyssey is a glamper, what role do you see future explorers like the Corsair? The Corsair is a fantastic, rugged frontier explorer that explores a very specific niche. That niche is the inside of your cargo bay. Not its cargo bay, your cargo bay. Whenever someone says it's overgunned for an explorer, I always go, because it's not an explorer. it's a pirate ship. it is an explorer. It does have the abilities for exploration. But its main role is a combat explorer. It's designed to go explore regions which are dangerous to face, but is smaller than an Odyssey, so it can sneak in and out or get into smaller jump points and stuff like that. Jake's, this is an explorer. It's a gunship. Yeah, it's a gunship. You're going to scare the kids. I never scare the kids. Not enough, at least. Off-topic question. Would you consider investing / touring with Drew Wagner? He has been a pillar of the ED community and has moved to Star Citizen. He loves lore and will be a fine addition to the Star Citizen community. He follows me on Twitter. I follow him. Yeah, I mean, if he wants to hang out, I'm always down for it. I'm willing to bring him on Lore Citizen. We can talk a little bit. But I feel like he's one of those guys who's probably more invested in finding the story in the game, which is sadly not there yet. But I wouldn't mind giving a tour of like Loreville so he can kind of figure out like the already kind of ingrained lore in places like Loreville and such. But yeah, no, he's perfectly welcome to come on and hang out. I think I want to let him continue to explore the game on his own. But he's always welcome to. Drew, if you're watching, you're always welcome to hang out, and we'll explore the systems together. Hey, Hefe. Wouldn't it be better to market it as a mining explorer, not an explorer? The problem is it's not a mining explorer. It doesn't mine anything. It only mines Quantanium, and it's only for its own refinery. It has a honking size 2 mining laser whose sole job is to make sure it doesn't the ship doesn't get thirsty. It's the equivalent of owning a not a soda stream, but like a soda fountain from like a Taco Bell so that you can have soda. Who would have guessed? Well, as I said before, it makes no sense that they can only do that. You were right, Ostentatious. At the same time, it still makes no sense compared to what they've said in the past. Drew is a great guy and fantastic author. I'm glad to hear that. The Drew guy made some fun videos. He's like a real-life Jenkins from the FMV video, Contradiction, complete with a hat. I don't know what that game... I don't recognize that. I don't recognize the FMV references. I was never an FMV guy. The Odyssey's the ultimate Winnebago. Yeah. It's a fob. It's like a civilian fob. No, it would be like me owning a distillery and running a bar. It would be like me owning a distillery and a distribution route for that distillery and owning a bar, just so I can only get my booze from my own distillery. It's more like owning a distillery just so that I can use the booze for my bar and nothing else. That's what it's like. It's this weird, like, you've got a huge piece of tech which could be used for other things, but you can't even mine other things for it. Like, you can't even mine anything but Quantanium unless they've changed that. Like, that's completely different. I thought at the very least you could mine something else, you just couldn't refine it. You can't even fucking mine anything else other than Quantanium. Will we see the name of the ship showing on the outside of the hull? Yes, it already happens with some ships. They just didn't like, it's just weird. Like the Corsair, not the Corsair, the 890, the 600, the Star Runner. What else is there? The Carrack, and there's one other one I'm forgetting. Those are all, they all have names, and you can name the ship and the name will show up inside of your ship. I already said the 600. The 600, 890, Carrack, Starfare, and there's one other one that I'm missing. Just because there's 5, I know. I already said MSR. Reclaimer and Hammerhead. You're right, so that's 6, yeah. Oh, I'm getting the overheat rolled. Hold on. I feel like they're going to go back on their mining refining, similar to how the Valkyrie ended up. I mean, it would help the ship significantly if you could at the very least mine anything and put it in other places. My MSR name is the Lusty Argonian Maid. That's actually pretty cool. Or the concept image with the prospector kind of seems misleading now, right? Yeah, that too. Of the price to justify less options, the Odyssey has just grown up in the nice piece of role of the Odyssey. I don't know what you mean by that, but can somebody tell me why it's so hard for CIG to make all ships nameable? Would it even pay $5 for each ship I name? Strictly because they're not. It's not just ships. They're going to make all ships nameable eventually. The issue isn't necessarily the difficulty. It's the difficulty versus what those people could be doing otherwise. The value of having ships named right now is not at all. there's just really no value in naming ships right now when you've got so many other things to work on. The reality was that likely what happened was the team that was doing the names had nothing to do because they had finished their job and they're waiting for other teams to finish their jobs before they worked on the next tech. So they sat down and worked on a prototype for names for ships. And they worked off at a couple of different ships and to see if it worked. It didn't really work. They'll have to go back and kind of change some of the lettering and change some of the sizing and change some of they're going to have to go back and code things, which probably isn't too difficult, but it's time consuming. It takes up resources that they could be doing on other things like better skins or better reflections or lighting, whatever. The teams that are involved in that have better things to do than make sure we have names on our ships when we still have so many other issues and other things to get finished. So, and Newfire, what's up? What do you think was the censored part of the ship? Oh, it's the hover vehicle from CitizenCon. Hey, how's it going, Nobufire? I heard about Twistar. I heard about it from your post, actually. That's kind of fucked. Nice to see you too, buddy. For those of you who don't know, Twistar was actually somebody who's been on the captain's table before. He is a longtime Star Citizen fan. He passed away from COVID recently. So, Newfire is doing some fundraising and doing some giveaways as a result to help out. So, in memory of Twistar. Hover vehicle from CitizenCon? Let me pull it up. Right there. You see, we already got the Explorer ship. That's the Odyssey. We got the ground vehicle, which is the Spartan. We just don't have the hover vehicle and the bomber ship. This is obviously coming out in 3.16, the hover vehicle. So. We got his wife over 10K back. Nice. Yeah. It's good to hear. Yeah, he got bleeped over it. It was intentional. They're trying to build a pipe for it. Whichever bike. Okay, so it's going to be... It's either going to be this one or this one, not this one. And if it's not probably not going to be this one because this is too close to the Dragonfly. So it's probably going to be this. And because it's this, it's going to be, clean some off my, because it's going to be this one, I'm assuming it's going to be Consolidated Outland. So. Yeah, I don't think it's this one. This one's too weird, and this one's too close to the other one. RSI hoverback. Could be an RSI. I can see that because it kind of looks like a mantis. Very cool. I want the motorcycles and the mech suits in game. Man, I am my aesthetic. I found out long ago that my aesthetic was grounded science fiction with big ass stompy robots. Give me Dyson spheres and O'Neill cylinders and hydrogen fusion drives, sublight travel, give me efficient fusion drives, which will take weeks to travel to the outer solar system, but no artificial gravity. You got to spin that shit to be able to get artificial gravity, but then give me some fucking Gundams. give me some stomping mechies. That's my aesthetic. Give me knights in space. Give me some capes and some swords. And some rail guns and giant mechs. Hey, Pilot, how you doing, buddy? Titan Online. For those of you guys who don't know, the Pilot, who's hanging out in YouTube chat, how you doing, the Pilot? He's another Elite Dangerous content creator who started making stuff for Star Citizen recently. He did a fantastic video on the Avenger Titan, which is the only thing you ever need. As he said, it's incorrect, of course, because the best ship in the game is obviously the Aurora. Well, no, the best ship in the game is obviously the Argo Cargo. All hail he, the king who rules upon us, all looks down upon us and blesses us. You want 40K, bro. Just admit it. Well, no, because 40K has too much space magic. Like, I like 40K, but like the space magic and just everything's grimdark. Grimdark's not really my vibe. I like grimdark, but like, it's not the thing that I would choose to like. I got to be in the right mood for grimdark. I don't want noble bright either. I want something in between. What's an odd punctuation? Like a pluralization of Pisces? Like Pisci? Argo, he will lift this up. Yes. Dozens of us. We want a grounded 40K. I want Gundam with 40K elements is what I want. I want Gundam and Battletech with some 40K elements. Gundam, Battletech, and the Expanse having a weird offspring. Smelling Polaris. If you really want to have to take out Paul's Redeemer and shoot the Argo Cargo to shit, I hate you. I don't have a Redeemer. CIG said that they were going to give me a Redeemer as punishment. Thank you, chat. CIG said they were going to give me one unmeltable as punishment. They never did. Because they're cowards. I'm saying like Titanfall kind of a deal. Yeah, kind of like Titanfall. Yeah. I think they still have artificial gravity in Titanfall, but yeah, like Titanfall, give me Titanfall with like Gundam colonies and Expanse travel. You have no idea how many times I think about hitting that sample and don't. MechWarrior is just first person Battletech, yeah. Did I say MechWarrior? I didn't mean to say MechWarrior. I meant Battletech, but yeah. Where do we turn in the green gifts? Any lawful station should accept the green gifts. You just got to go to the commodity station and sell them. Yeah, the admin stuff, yeah. Any place where you would sell commodities. You can sell commodities at TTD? I didn't know that. No, they're already there. They're already in game. Gifts are already in game. The problem with invoking Gundam is eventually you have real wings sprouting on the back of a mech, and it's awesome, but a bit off-brand. But the thing is, like, a lot of people don't realize that Gundam is incredibly grounded science fiction, except for its giant space mecha samurai. It's incredibly grounded. Like, the colonies are O'Neill cylinders, which is a type of actual, like, scientifically accurate, correct way of building space colonies, which is entirely possible with even our current levels of tech, maybe a little bit in the future, because powering would be a bit of a problem, where you could essentially basically build a big cylinder and then spin it for artificial gravity, and then just live on the edges of the cylinder, and you can make them very long. That's what and then the centers would be 0G. If you've seen Babylon 5, it's an O'Neill cylinder. You know, like the travel times are about right in terms of like moving things from place to place. It also has giant space samurai, mech samurais. So yeah, that's why I say, like, take the O'Neill cylinders, and instead of having the Gundam mechs, you have Titanfall mechs. And then you have like Battletech style, or Battletech mechs, or in Battletech style kind of like knightly orders and stuff like that. Yeah, that's one of my problems with it. CIG has some weird naming conventions, because you've got Titan suits, the Avenger Titan, and there's even like we found like 2 other Titans that exist. Like there's Titan the Moon, and then there's another Titan that they've recently created as well, like a Titan armor. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Find other things. I prefer the scale of Titanfall mechs to Battletech. Yeah, I do too. Titanfall mechs feel more realistic. Mechs themselves aren't realistic, but like they feel a little bit more grounded. It's like there's lots of words, CIG. A Rock Titan suit variant. I wouldn't be surprised if the Titan suit was, instead of it being a bespoke military weapon but a platform. And I wouldn't be surprised if Grey Cat made it. Grey Cat. I wouldn't be surprised if Grey Cat made it. It's kind of essentially an exoskeleton armor that was used for like loading and unloading, or for like mining vehicles, or get it crawling through areas where like a vehicle wouldn't fit, and then using like kind of mining lasers, or like a rescue suit, or a construction assistant. You know, if that would make more sense for Argo. And then what they did is the UE military was like, slap some armor on that bitch, give it a size 0 shield, and give it some guns. That's an assault suit. Yeah, see, it's supposed to be its inspiration was the loader from Aliens mixed with the Max suits from PlanetSide. Modular probability. I think they'll sell they'll still sell different like skins. Essentially, they'll sell a civilian skin or civilian version which doesn't have the armor plating you have to like wear a suit when you crawl in, and then I don't think it's sealed anyways. But like you don't have the protective armor that the military version does, but you have like, it's cheaper because you could just essentially you just still have the exoskeleton power suit. You may not even have the shield, and then they'll sell a version, you know, that has the military armor, like a militia version, which is like so not fully military, but like some of the armor and has the shield, or doesn't even or has only partial, but maybe no armor and shield, but has a shield. And then they'll have like a military spec version, which is fully armored, shield and weapons. Argo. Wee-oo. Yes, Argo. Question: will CIG rework the Argo cargo components in the current metrics? This ship's getting a gold pass, so I think it's already getting some sort of change. The Argo cargo's big thing is its modularity. So it has to wait for modularity to be finished before it really shines. Because like we talk about the Argo cargo, but the Argo cargo is just the Argo MPUV. It just has the 1C attachment to the Argo MPUV. The other version, the personnel, is just the MPUV 1P. But you can swap those modules around. You can turn a 1C into a 1P and a 1P into 1C. Suit should cut you a bonus check. NC Max Suit is just an armored loader. Yeah. Will they look like the ones from the movie Avatar? We actually know what they look like. Hold on. There was a concept art piece. Now, concept art can change, but this was the start of it. One of the reasons we don't see it yet either is because it's probably in Squadron 42. But yeah, that's the Titan suit. Not very old. It's like 2015, 2016. It's newer than somewhat concept. But this was the vibe they were going for. And then we also have this was the, where are you? This is what it looked like before that. So you can kind of see the kind of like animal-like backwards leaning legs. You can see where someone would stand in it, where they have like controls that they hold on to. So compare that to this. It's about the same kind of ship. Slightly different, but you know, similar in a lot of its design aspects. That thigh gap looks very unfortunate to stand in. As an Exo Squad, it's Exo Squad size, yes. Think it's going to be used in Squadron 42? Absolutely, it's going to be used in Squadron 42. I think when it was on the roadmap, it did say it was a Squadron 42 asset. So Star Citizen and Squadron 42. But I can guarantee you that because we haven't heard shit about it, but we know it was on the roadmap and has been worked on, and that we have concept art of it, that it's a Squadron 42 asset. Digigrade, thank you. The Digitread legs suggest mobility over sheer brute force. That's true. But that size, do I need to do this again? It's the size of a Van Duel. It's carrying like a size 1 weapon, maybe even a size 2 weapon. That is a dangerous piece of tech. I feel like something like that could probably punch a hole in armor with its fists. Yeah, it's designed for speed, but it's also a Marine. That even that concept shows the Marine patch on it, which tells me that it's used by the Marines mostly, which would make sense if it's speed, because the Marines don't like to stick around. The Marines are very much, in the UEE, are very much the special forces hit and run. They come in small numbers, but with advanced tech, overwhelm somebody before they know they're there, secure assets, and get the fuck out. So you drop a couple of these boys as a shock assault in the middle of the beginning of an assault to scare the crap out of somebody you're attacking and take out armor before they know you're there, and then bring in the rest of the Marines and deal with it and get the fuck out. Question, are you expecting a large add to Star Citizen when Squadron 42 is released? Not immediately. I think it'll be drip fed, but yeah, I expect we'll start seeing a lot more stuff come out from Star Citizen when Squadron 42 is done. I never thought I'd say Fallout 4 did something better, but here we are. Those mechs look uncomfortable. Fallout did it better. Yeah. I don't mind the mechs. It's still in concept as well, but I don't think they're getting rid of the digigrade legs. They're the Martian Marines from the Expanse. Yeah, effectively. Jumpdown's going to get interesting with Moabs now. Yeah. I imagine the system would be available in Star Citizen once Squadron 42 is out. I would, yes. The systems that are in the Squadron 42, we know at least of one of them, which is Odin, the Odin system. The Odin system will be available when Squadron 42 comes out. But I don't think it'll be, probably not the same month, the same patch. I think Odin will come in the patch after Squadron 42 is released. Because you got to remember, Squadron 42 takes place before the current timeline in the PU. It takes place starts in 2945 or 46, which is like 5-6 years ago as of now. Probably be 7 or 8 by the time Squadron 42 comes out. Isn't there a system that's supposedly haunted? Yeah, Hades. Definitely haunted by something. They blew up their own planet. One of their planet is no longer there. It's a half planet because they used something that blew the fuck up of it. Like the size of Earth. The amount of like energy you have to release to blow up like half of Earth, like physically destroy it down to its core, is absolutely mind-boggling. And they did it. But they're all dead now, so we don't know why they did it or how they did it. So it's one of those systems where it's an entire graveyard. The entire system is like an archaeological site, but it's so massive, it's too hard to really control. So there are archaeologists who get sent out there, but it's again, it would be like having an entire city. It'd be like Pompeii, but at least Pompeii is manageable. It's like Pompeii if it was a country. It would be like the entire continent, or the entire like landmass of modern day Italy just being ruins that nobody lived in. You can't sell it? Okay. But they're in game, so if you can't sell it, it makes sense. Combat is dumbing this game down. I disagree. Combat is fine. The game was never going to be a 1-to-1 space simulation. It wasn't going to be DCS in space. And combat is going to get more complicated as we go along. It's just right now combat is limited because of the lack of completed systems like damage. Damage is in, but it's not what it will be eventually. Like farting smart xenomorphs in hand-to-hand combat. I'll happily spend the rest of my days studying an abandoned alien planet. Okay. So the entire system of Hades is abandoned. Something happened millions of years ago, and what we call the Hadesians now murdered each other. They stopped existing. They don't exist anymore. We found the system, and it was an entire, like every bit of the system had been colonized, but nothing was left alive. So the entire system is dead, and one of the planets is completely shattered from some sort of weapon. So, like, it's an archaeological site because it's essentially a dead civilization. But also, Hurston and Bering, major weapons companies, are like, we want the tech that blew that planet up. We're going to find that technology that blew the planet up. Because, Death Star laser, anybody? So they're constantly sending out other expeditions to find weapons from the Hadesians. But of course, these are dead worlds which have been demolished and are millions of years old. So, yeah, that's not even mentioning the Blue Man. There is a strange, translucent blue humanoid figure that just shows up on passing ships. It'll just show up in cargo bays or in inside ships or on the planet. And every civilization that passes through Hades has seen this creature in some way, shape, or form. They call him the Blue Man. CIG is also funny because they also call him Toby. But he just appears. He doesn't like show up. He just appears in front of somebody and then disappears as fast. It's a ghost. If they had this tech, they surely would have traveled further. That's the thing. CIG isn't a progenitor. They don't like progenitor species. They don't like the idea of like the Protheans and Mass Effect. They don't want to have that in Star Citizen. So they never discovered jump travel, either because they never figured out how jump travel works or there were no jump points in their system. Because the jump points that exist there now may have formed later. We know that jump points do collapse and reform. We've seen them a couple times. We've seen it happen a couple of times. We just don't know how long. And it being millions of years ago. Tobias Blue Man, yes. Zombie got it. Thanks, I hate it. I love everything about this. There's also the Vara. The Day of the Vara. The Vara was one of the first exploration ships to explore the Hades system. It vanished without a trace. No one knows what happened to it. But it's the Flying Dutchman of Star Citizen. But there's a tradition that started up where people would dress in the same sort of uniforms as the Vara, which was green and black, their jumpsuits, to ward off evil spirits, because they said if you found the Vara, then the undead crew would board you and kill you all. So on the day of the Vara, the day that it disappeared, if you're traveling through the Hades system, you would wear the jumpsuits to confuse the Vara crew and tell creepy stories about the past. And this tradition became what we know today as the Day of the Vara in the universe, which is the Star Citizen's version of Halloween. Oh, you and me are going to sit down and a lore deep dive. The pilot. Hi, my name is Paul. I've been doing lore for Star Citizen. I've been looking into the lore of Star Citizen for like 5 years now. I do a long-running YouTube series of just talking about the lore. It's over 100 videos now. He's been in Elite Dangerous. A lot of people know me because of Captain's Table. Like, they like my content because of Captain's Table. But not everyone knows that I also do Galactic Historian. It's my lesser known content, apparently. As in no biological life, period, on the planets. That's dead. There's nothing left. We don't even know if there's microbes left on those planets. I'm glad you like Galactic Historian more, Whole Runner. Thank you, Enigmath. I find that Galactic Historian fans tend to be a little bit more like ride or die. But you're a small cadre of loyal fans. It's not that Captain's Table people aren't good either. It's just I tend to find that like their wanes, there is highs and lows for Captain's Table, but Galactic Historian stays the same. Are most of my Galactic Historian enough up to date to binge them? Yeah, oh yeah. There's a couple of things that I screwed up on, but like they're minor details. Like understanding the political parties is a big one. I kind of fucked up on that because CIG was very vague on it, and then they've changed some of their ideas since then. But yeah, yeah. Like I don't even want to know how many hours of content it is. Does YouTube tell you the length of a playlist? It might. It says there's over 100 videos, but some of them are different. It's 100 episodes, not 100 hours. I also haven't been checking your lore videos on YouTube as of late. Much appreciated. No problem. Thank you for watching. I think the only issue I have with the Star Citizen lore right now is that it's heavily reliant on outside sources and isn't as influential in game. Would be my only issue. So 200 hours. So the average length of a Galactic Historian episode is about 9 minutes. The lectures series, which I started off doing when I first started doing it, is between 30 minutes and an hour. And I have like maybe 10 of those. So it's at least 10 hours plus another 90 videos or something like that of other content. So it's probably close to 24 hours of content. All right, question. Are you able to talk us about Jumptown 2? Yeah, I mean, Jumptown 2 is they've already explained it in ISC. It's going to be a mission that you can get for lawful or unlawful. So you have to either be lawful or unlawful aligned. You have to have either criminal status or be lawful to get the mission, but to know about it. But they'll pop up randomly in one of the 3 drug locations. You go there, you buy commodities, and you can go sell them pretty easily. But you know, that sort of thing. So that's 20 hours, yeah. Thank you, Christopher. I've listened to them for like a week at work before. Okay. Varwartek. I don't know what that means, Barbara. I love hoarding lore. It's like loot for the brain. You save me from having to read. I found that I am the alternative to reading. Lore lovers are lore hoarders and appreciate good sources. Yeah. This is my work jam. Yeah, Galactic Historian's why I'm a Patreon. I mean, it is the Patreon. Strato, didn't you not hear me saying, yes, I'm definitely interested in talking with or touring with Drew. But I also want him to be able to, like, explore the universe on his own. I don't want to, like, butt in on his whole experience. I want him to kind of experience the universe for himself. Let's fucking go. Who wants the oversized freelancer? Not me. Not me. It's not a bad ship, but yeah. Jumpdown 2 is aka Death of Quantum Mining on Lyria. Why is that? Had to feed the baby? It's all right. Yeah, it's just... Lore Citizens this month? Yes. We're recording on the 14th. We're talking about the rise and fall of the Mezzers. So we're talking about, I think Jail is doing an extensive expose on all of the Mezzers. What is Al doing? Al's doing a look at the role of Bremen in the rise and fall of the Mezzers. And I believe I'm talking about the fall of the Mezzers, the last Mezzers, and like how they fucked up. Like from Anthony Tanaka all the way down to the revolution, the anti-Mezzer revolution, and the aftermath of it. Am I okay with the new look of Jumptown layout? It's fine. I'm nonplussed about the missions thing. I get why they're doing it the way they're doing it. I just would have preferred it to be based off of reputation and not based off of just criminal status. But there's no reputation for criminal organizations yet, so. Drew's a good dude. I think he'd like to talk to another lore storian, lore master. The only reason why I call it Galactic Historian is because IRL, I have a degree in history. I teach history as my profession, social studies, but history most specifically. So I always look at lore from the perspective of a historical person, someone who knows how history works. So I look at Star Citizen lore is very interesting because it's written like pieces of history. So you often have to take bits of here and a bit of here and put them together to find the narrative thread that they're weaving, because it's not written like a story. You're not seeing like this is a history book. You're reading the whole thing. It's written like, here's a little bit on the history of the Mezzers, who they were. Here's a little bit about the fall of the Mezzers. Here's a little bit about the attempt to reform the UEE. Here's a little bit about this horrible massacre that almost caused that helped cause the downfall of the Mezzers. Here's a little bit about the Xi'an and how they helped. You have to read like 7 or 8 different little stories and even some ship stories to be able to understand the full context of what went on during just the Mezzer era, which was in itself 300 years of history. But come back to AMA. Which cuisine do you like the most? Cuisine. I mean, America. I don't really have a cuisine preference. My favorite food is pizza, just because it's so variable. You can get pizza. You can always be in the mood for pizza. But like barbecue, I think would be the thing that I go out of my way to. Like good barbecue, like good, like brisket or ribs or pulled pork and those kind of things. So kind of like real history. Yeah, that's what I meant. It's as I said, it's like it's written like actual history is written. So what happened versus what was written down. Exactly, yeah. And a lot of the perspective that we see in Star Citizen's lore is from the perspective of the UEE. So it's from the perspective of modern people in the society that exists that most people live in. We don't really see the perspective of non-UEE people. We do see some of it. Like there's an entire lore section, which is a pirate radio broadcast called Booty Call by an actual pirate named Jester, who kind of does this sort of like his own sort of talk show about pirates for pirates. And so we get a little bit of like piratical history and a little bit of like context, but there's no real like specific, you get a little bit of like their traditions and how like pirates formed in the UEE. Yeah, but what about the most important question? Dry or wet barbecue? That's the thing. I think it just depends on the mood. I tend to eat wet because I'm a fat ass, but I prefer wet, but I do not want wet ribs, for instance. I'll get wet brisket, but it makes more sense to have dry ribs. That makes sense. Squadron 42 is after the Mezzer era. The Mezzer era ended in 2792. And the new UE era happened from 2793, 2794 until today. Squadron 42 takes place in 2942. So it's also important to understand that in Star Citizen, the actual like the lifespan of a person is of a citizen is 150 plus. People routinely see 100 years. So there could be people, plus with suspended animation technology, which has existed for almost 1,000 years now, there could be people today who lived during the Meso era. Not many, but there could still be some today who lived through it. So it's only a generation or two out of modern memory. Imperator could live forever in theory, but you would eventually die. We'll talk about that because that was the other thing we'll talk about Death of the Spaceman. So this is the other thing where I'm going to record it. I'm not going to look at chat. I'm going to talk to the camera, and then feel free. We'll talk about this afterwards. So let me turn this off and restart it. Hello and welcome to another office hours segment. I'm never going to get a name for this. These office hours segments where I take a little bit of the office hours and I talk with you specifically who have not watched us live. You should be joining us live if you're watching this. Twitch.tv/theastropub, youtube.com/theastropub, 9 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays. Join us for live discussion, question and answers, and more for our weekly cast through here. But if you're watching this after the fact, you're probably wondering what I'm going to be talking about. And let me get to that point, which is Death of a Spaceman. This is going to be an add-on to the lore series the lore episode, Galactic Story episode that I've recently produced, because I saw a lot of comments that were confused. So I'm going to go over rehash a little bit of the video, but make sure you watch the video if you are right there. If you're watching this on YouTube, right there. After the fact, there'll be the link right there. That link is for you to watch that first and then come to this one afterwards. So, pause the video, go get that, come back. You done? You back? Excellent. Now you're ready. That's all the case, but I'm going to give you a brief overview anyways in case you haven't watched it. How Star Citizen works is Star Citizen Respawn is called regeneration. In lore, it's a brand new tech that's only been around for about 4 years. It's highly experimental, but has been kind of free source, like open source to everyone, period. So if you have enough money and you have the right kind of tools, you can make yourself a regeneration bed. You just need to have the right materials and the right tech. So pretty much all of civilized human space has some kind of regeneration tech attached to it. This does not mean that you live forever. It means that when you die, you are brought back from death at the moment of death. So because of a system called echoes, where your consciousness is linked to what's called an imprint. So if in game right now, if you go to kind of change your respawn point, it'll say reset your imprint. That's what they're talking about. When you go to change your imprint, you go imprint essentially your soul, as it were, your entire mind, your consciousness, everything into a machine called an Ibrahim sphere. Then when you die, you get reprinted from that imprint, but that imprint is constantly updating based off of through a connection which we don't fully understand about, which updates through interspace. It's kind of like quantum entanglement. It doesn't work like cloning. Again, in the video, I go through all this already. So I have little stuff like this. But that's essentially how the lore works, is that it's a new tech. You still can die. It's called getting wiped, because the echoes transmit all of your information, including injuries, trauma to your new body. So if you lost an arm when you died, when you are regen, you may not have that arm anymore. It may come back, but it may not be functional because your brain thinks it's gone. It's kind of like reverse phantom limb syndrome, where it just like the neurological, imprint just doesn't mesh because the trauma that you accomplished when you lost that arm. As a result, eventually the copy of your imprint will get so degraded that it can no longer be recopied. Your neural imprint is too far gone. That's called getting wiped. And you can tell this by what's called a imprint viability score, or IVS. That's all the video that I talked about before. Again, watch the video for more lore context for it. But with that in mind, I do want to go over a little bit of a death of a spaceman so people kind of get what I'm saying. So this is the very first ever gameplay concept that was pitched to us by Chris Roberts back in 2012. So this is literally the oldest aspect of like gameplay that was planned. It's inspired heavily by Demon Souls. Dark Souls 1, as you can see here. So I'll read through some of this. In Star Citizen's persistent universe, I want events to happen, governments to fall, wars fought, and players becoming legends. I want to see a Galactipedia that grows from week to week, reflecting not just the ongoing content Cloud Imperium plans to continually generate, but also the great deeds achieved by players. Players impacting the lore, which we've already seen with the Jumptown Wars. To achieve this sense of living history, there needs to be a universe where where time progresses, characters die, and new ones come to the front. Beyond this, I want people to have the same sense of accomplishment when they are a really difficult trading run or kill an especially infamous pirate. I hate the current game trend in single-player games where the game auto-saves every 2 seconds, and if you die, you just get to start a few steps earlier. This makes you a lazy and sloppy player. I bullied my way through games like Mass Effect or Gears of War, running and guns blazing, knowing that if I died, I would always just respawn a few steps earlier. In Wing Commander or Privateer, you had to complete the mission to move on. There was no mid-mission saves. This created a sense of anxiety towards the end of the mission. If you were badly damaged and your shields were low, but you managed to limp home successfully, you felt a sense of accomplishment without the risk of losing something you've worked hard towards. The sense of achievement is cheap. So, it's very easy and very obvious that Chris Roberts wants the game to feel earned. So you're going to have to make decisions which will be risky. This is where Demon Souls comes in. The last single-player game I played that gave me an extreme sense of accomplishment in beating was Demon Souls. How they handled death and reincarnation of your ghost body was consistent with their world and fiction, and because I couldn't save mid-level, clearing a level, especially after a difficult boss fight, was immensely satisfying. It was one of those most frustrating games I've played. I think Demon Souls was too much on the punishing end of the difficulty spectrum, but it did really remind me of the value of playing something, of having something to lose when playing. You can't have light with dark, and you can't have reward without risk. In Squadron 42, it's pretty easy to achieve. You need to complete the mission to move forward, and you can't save while in space. You die, or you just go back to the previous save point, normally before you launch the mission. The tricky part is really how failure is handled in the persistent universe of Star Citizen. You can't just set back the game to an earlier point. The simple solution is that when your ship is destroyed, you manage to eject and drift in space. This is the old one that we'll skip over that because that's changed with the new generation. This is where the new generation stuff. One of my goals with Star Citizen, which is why he didn't want it to be Eve. He didn't want to have like clones and stuff like that. One of my goals with Star Citizen is to make it feel very visceral and real. I want to feel the effects of physical damage on my player. Loss of limb or other mishaps can happen in the dangers of space. If my character has been through several wars, I want to see the scars on him or her. Perhaps a cybernetic arm because he was lost in a firefight or the wrong side of a dogfight. I want to be able to walk into another player in a bar and see that he or she is a grizzled veteran with battle scars to prove it. This is the kind of detail and texture and immersion I want to achieve in Star Citizen. I also believe that if everyone can be cloned easily, it fundamentally changes the structure of the universe. You now have a universe of immortal gods that can't be killed. Death is just a financial and time inconvenience and has no further consequences. So this is important to like point out here. The respawn mechanic regen is not immortal gods. You're not immortal. You still die. It's clear in lore, but in game, you will also die. There is a version of permadeath in Star Citizen. So it's important to bring it up. The life and death cycle of humanity is what has brought us to our history, our need to make a mark in our time, to push forward. If I want a living, breathing universe if I want a universe that has a lot of dynamics of a real world and is inspired by the decline of the fall of the Roman Empire, immortality for all is problematic. The flip side is that while permadeath is realistic, it's not a lot of fun. If the first time you're on the wrong side of a dogfight, you lose everything and have to start again. I want Star Citizen to be immersive and fun. The death mechanic that I have to keep in mind, keep a feeling of mortality and history without making it frustrating or killing, pun intended, the fun. So, that's the context. It's important to context. He kind of goes through this, but I'll summarize it pretty simply. In Star Citizen, you create your character. You go out in the universe and have your adventures. When you die, you get respawned, regened. You have to go to a regen bed. You have to have an imprint. That can be a financial and time loss, but it could also mean that, like, say, if you were on your Odyssey and you imprinted onto the ship there, and your Odyssey is destroyed and you're killed, well, then you're going to have to go back to the last place you had imprinted before that, which could be systems away. So you've lost all of that progress. On top of that, with the IVS, if you're longer distance or you haven't updated this viability score, or if the place that you're being respawned at, you're regenning at, isn't as advanced, that will affect the IVS score, which means you'll have less lives. So eventually, you will die. And when your character dies, you will have to re-roll your character. This means that your character is dead. You have to create a brand new character that will inherit the wealth and reputation of your other character. But because you died, you're going to lose some of that wealth through taxes or through other means, and or you're also going to lose your reputation. Because if you're the son of a famous general, you still have some reputation. You're still the son of a famous general, but you're not the famous general. So you have to work your own reputation. And because reputation is far more important in the Star Citizen universe than credits, it's the thing that dictates pretty much everything you'll be able to do in the game. Death is going to suck. So, as a result, no, you're not a clone because you can't reclone anywhere. And no, you're not immortal. Eventually you will die. And there will be in-game consequences for it. So it's important to remember that as Star Citizen comes, as Death of a Spaceman becomes a thing, which is not too far away, the regeneration mechanic is heavily baked into the mechanics of the game. And you have to understand it to understand why things exist. Like, there will be legitimate missions that will be spawned around the regeneration mechanic. There'll be events that happen because of the regeneration event. In fact, there was even a concept that Chris Roberts had well in the early development of borrowing the idea of the Nemesis system from Shadow of Mordor, which I don't know if they're still doing it because it's been copyrighted, but we'll see, which would allow for people to remember, NPCs to remember that you killed them and come back and fight you, which makes sense now with the regeneration mechanic. You destroy them, you kill them, you made them regen, they will remember that and come back after you. So these are all things to take into account. Hopefully that clears up some of the issues that were not as clear in the lore document, which of course I was assuming something that people knew, which is always a bad thing, but also it was a lore post, not a gameplay post. So I just kind of wanted to kind of influence that a little bit. again, hopefully that clears things up. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, like, subscribe. Join the rest of the people in the chat here for us live Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. And like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black. And remember, ex historia ad astra. All right, I cleared this porn bot. I've never seen that. The reason why I was dancing was because I was in the recording, so I wanted to have the music playing through the outro. I was really hate their grand. I do too. They're going to have hits out on them. Yeah. The Imperator feels like the Empire from the Foundation, but in one body. Kind of. It's hard to explain. So like syncing my music library. Got it. Needs to be resynced from time to time. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. The office hours. They're trying to get me in trouble, get you in trouble. I think the video will do good. One take. Yeah. Well, the thing is that that won't show up. The chat in YouTube won't show up on that video because the only chat that's up here is Twitch. RE Nemesis system, a sufficiently different version with a different name can be put out. Yeah, I think so. That would be cool to be able to hack a Vandal regen bed and come back in one of their bodies, possibly. I don't know if that'll work like that, though. Star Citizen Inside of it just came out. Inside Star Citizen, yeah, that's been out for a bit, Max. Sounds a bit like our Altered Carbon. Yeah, but with Altered Carbon, you have sleeves where you can get, like, re-sleeved. So you're effectively immortal. In Star Citizen, when you die, you come back at the same age you were. Because of the updating. Because of the constant updating. So like if I'm 34 now, I think 35. I don't remember how old I am. If I died, if regen was real and I died right now, I would not be, you know, or if I say I imprinted now and then I waited 2 years to get another imprint, then I died, I wouldn't go back to being 35 because of the connection with my brain, with my scan, with my imprint and my consciousness was still active. So I'd come back as I was in 37. So my age is not any different because all of the echoes that constantly update the memories and everything else like that. What if you could sabotage imprint systems on stations or system stations? You probably can, but as long as they have a backup imprint somewhere else, they can respawn somewhere else. They just won't be able to respawn right there. What happens if some guy destroys the sphere? If you have a backup imprint, if you imprinted, say if I imprinted on my Odyssey, but I also have an imprint at Lorville, and my Odyssey explodes, then I'd go back to Lorville. Because that would be the last imprint that I had. Because you can have multiple imprints, but they're only active at one time. But it also has that you can get another sleeve. Yeah, but you can't get another sleeve. You can't get another body. You come back as you. What if the printer is out of ink? Well, you have to get more ink. you won't be able to respawn at that bed. Well, that would be a bitch. Your main imprint was at home, but you stopped it. They stopped or tampered with it and you're 5 systems away from with nothing because you stopped there once. Exactly, Othman. That's the point. That's the kind of Dark Souls. Did you hit the bonfire? Kind of idea that CIG is going for. It's a bonfire from Dark Souls. Your imprint is your bonfire. It's the last place you'll go. So you have to prepare and plan. Otherwise, you're going to get fucked. In Eve, once upon a time, they had upgradable clones that had to be maintained. Otherwise, you'd lose a lot of skill points, statage. Kind of like that, but there's no skills in this kind of stuff. Can all the imprints be destroyed, though? We don't know. Possibly. CIG does want you to be able to be wiped. So if all of your imprints are destroyed permanently, that may be a wipe. Then maybe you have to re-roll a new character. I think CIG wants to make it so that that's very difficult, if not impossible. Because there should always be an imprint somewhere in a very safe location. That's fine. I can imagine legendary pilots spreading their fortune and imprinting on every possible place and then wreaking havoc. Killing him would be like finding all the Horcruxes. Exactly. See, the thing that they did, because they had to change it from its original concept, which was like, you ejected, you got rescued, because they wanted to make it make sense in the verse and kind of tie it into the gameplay. They had to make it a big thing. It couldn't just be a tiny little addition. They had to make it like a world-changing event. And it's enough like wibbly-wobbly science fiction kind of like hand-wavium stuff. It's enough like, don't ask questions about it. It just exists. That it's interesting, but it also allows for interesting story points. Like killing a pirate who's imprinted on 17 different places. It's just an explanation as to why you can respawn. Exactly. That's its point. But it also can be fed into the actual like universe. It can come up with events. You can have story elements. You could have gameplay plots that make sense with it. You can play with it and use it as an interesting backdrop for gameplay. A wizard did it. Yeah. It's enough of like, because the actual lore behind it, and I'd watch the video because I do it better and more succinctly in the video, but effectively it's Vanduul tech. It's tech that we got from a Vanduul raid, and we don't know how the fuck they got it. They just have it. And we stole it and then reverse engineered it for our own purposes. And even then, that was just the imprint. The actual regen technology came from a separate company through a separate process from Project Calliope. I say Calliope. I'm just going to say Calliope. Calliope, which is... which was a system by Bioticorp that is essentially the system that allows us is our character creator. Like that the character creator itself is Project Calliope, which allows you to kind of rechange your appearance on a whim. Eventually, the character creator will be in game as like an in-game kiosk where you can kind of go change your appearance because it's been around for a bit. But part of that project was allowing for rapid printing of things like limbs or different skin tones or different skin types or bones. And that process created the regen serum and a regen printer, which allowed for them to essentially print an entire body from scratch. You combine it with an imprint, you've got an entire body that's based off of the imprint's recollection. Canonical hand waving, yeah. Yeah, missions to clear imprints and wipe a person. One of my favorites that I came up with was some idiot builds his own personal Ibrahim sphere and ends up transferring his consciousness to a Big Benny's machine. So you have to go. So there's a call for help, and you have to go like pick up a Big Benny's machine and then move it to a hospital so he can get revived. like stuff like that. It's a funny way of saying it's almost certainly Cathok tech. It's definitely not Vanduul tech. Paper jam. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing that got me excited when they first came out with Regen, was that it actually makes sense in the universe. It progresses the story of the universe. It allows for players to have some light death mechanics without being super punishing, but also introduces interesting canonical elements of how the respawn works and will work into the story of the game itself. Steal an imprint and ransom it to the owner. Perhaps you get an assassination mission, which requires you to go find all of the imprints of this person first and wipe them, or transfer them, hack them, pull them out, and then replace them into another location so that you can off them and then they respawn in prison. Or respawn in like the mob boss's backyard. Like there's so many cool things you could do with it because it's a game mechanic that's also part of the universe. Is the Devarin hover bike from the vote image? Hence the noises over disco? Yes, X. I don't know if it's Devarin. Someone did mention that it could be an RSI hover bike, which I like. But it's definitely either Devarin, Consolidated Outland, or RSI. I want the subscriber item store in game to rebuy my lost stuff. Yeah, it's going to happen. So Matrix in space. I don't think you can respawn in the Matrix, though. Come back as that's not Project Phoenix. That's Project that's Project Kafka right there. Come back as cockroach version. It would make prison harder to manage if you could just load up your imprint and avoid prison. That's the thing, though, because likely any imprint you're going to have in non-legal space, and if you're like in places like Pyro, you're either going to have A, have reputation so you can load your imprint there, and B, it's probably not state of the art. So if you just say, I'm going to avoid prison and kill myself, you will take the fast route back to where you need to go, so you're not going to be captured, but then your IVS is going to get hit. And if your IVS is hit, it may mean that you have much less time to try to do that maneuver again. So it's a risk-reward factor. Is it worth it to off yourself or just turn yourself in? Because that way you don't have to re-roll a new character, lose a bunch of wealth because you have to pay a bunch of inheritance taxes. Even with pirates, they'll probably have some sort of like, hey, we kept your dad's shit, but you got to pay us. We're going to hold a little bit of it. And or lose your reputation. Like it's a legitimate concern. It's not a simple fuck it, kind of situation. I'd only rule RSI out because of the nose or alien, but I do like the idea of an RSI bike for sure. Well, I mean, here, let me pull it up again because we actually saw a little bit of it. Star Citizen Con ship. So this middle one looks like a mantis. Compare those. It has a kind of mantis front, and it has the nacelles of the mantis as well. So. Storage fees for pirates? I'd imagine that there's going to be some sort of storage fee. Noises? Oh. Nah. You notice the Perseus looks like a mantis too? I'll post. Yeah, it does look a bit. Actually, all three have RSI tropes. Yeah. And they usually go with one manufacturer when they're building them. It looks like it has like 2 guns as well. Yeah. $450,000 in Luminari gift pickups. Woof. What if they drop the X1, this grav lift bike straight into flyable? Nah, it's gonna be this is gonna be a straight to flyable ship, but it's not gonna be the grav. It's not gonna be F1. But yeah, you'll definitely have storage fees for pirates because, you know, pirate society isn't really, we call them pirate society, but they're not really all pirates. They're just outlaws. They're people who live outside of the law. So they have their own rules, their own regulations. They're not just all anarchists. And because of the limited nature of like space and storage, I can imagine that if you went to go pick up your stuff from, if you're the inheritor of your last character's stuff, you'll have to pay a fee because it's expensive to store it. And like, yeah, it's your hangar, but it's not really your hangar. It's the hangar of the last guy who's dead now, and they still have it. So you want it back, they'll give it back to you because they want to keep a good reputation of being like an honest place or a place that people may want to, you know, use. They're going to make you pay a fee for it. Holding cells and cutlass blues, etc., having some sort of inhibitor to prevent respawns, possibly as well. It'll probably just be a cryogenic storage facility. So basically you're just frozen. The theory that I have is that likely what will happen with bounty hunting is if you throw somebody in a cryo cell, that they'll, after a few minutes, you'll get like a timer, kind of like you do with the current knocked out timer, like when you're knocked out. And the timer will either say, after this point, you can respawn, or you can wait. And after that point, you can basically hit like, I give up. And when you give up, you get sent straight to prison, regardless if the player who has you is turning you in yet. So that your character's body is an NPC effectively. It's a little bit of like non-canonical, but it works in a way that allows for players to not just kidnap other players and just infinitely hold them, because that's a bad idea. That's rife for abuse. Yeah, wait for someone to rescue you or not, maybe, basically. Yeah, Levski's an outlaw colony, but not a pirate colony. They kick out pirates at Levski. They don't like them. My point is, this is COD in space. No, it's not. This isn't COD in space. What games? What's the last Call of Duty you played? This is not Call of Duty in space. That is a gross overgeneralization from somebody who's already said that they don't like the combat in Star Citizen. I've heard this so many times when someone's like, especially sim players, sim dads, when they don't like something, they call it arcadey as like a spit as an insult. It's an arcade, like it's bad. Like arcade equals bad. So like, and that's kind of the same kind of thing. Oh, it's just COD in space, or this is just Halo or whatever. It's like, no, it's not. It's actually much more similar to Arma than it is Halo or COD. Does anyone remember dropping a nuke? I don't remember getting a tactical nuke in Star Citizen. I don't remember being able to run around and wall slide and I don't get any kill streaks. It's just focused on killing? What? No, it's not. We have mining, we have refining, we have trading. We have like expos in game where you can go try out ships. We have beautiful vistas you can go to. We have rescue missions. We have medical gameplay. We'll soon have more in-depth versions of all of those. Salvage coming soon? Yeah. Trading until you're killed. You can trade and not die. I've been trading plenty of times without dying from somebody shooting me. I mean, think about it in real life there, Took. I'm a teacher until I'm dead. Or killed. I'm a husband until I'm dead or killed. Like, yeah, it's true. For everything. Name me a game that doesn't have, like, you're not an immortal being. It's not just space trading the game. And even then, like, games like even fucking, what's it called? Euro Truck Sim, you have fail states. But level 2 delivery missions have you shooting people. You don't have to take those missions, though. Death is a thing in this game, so it's basically Call of Duty. Any game with death is Call of Duty. Minecraft is Call of Duty. Fucking Resident Evil is Call of Duty. The Island is Call of Duty. Or The Forest is Call of Duty. We have more than that, Took. Like, I feel like you're intentionally obtuse at this point, buddy. You're like, oh, shoot. It's nothing but violence. It's really not. Violence is part of the game because it's part of the game. But you could literally not shoot a single gun and still play Star Citizen. Every job in Star Citizen is based around not dying. So is life. I don't know about you, buddy. Dora is Call of Duty. Because it's content. But you're right. I'll let him chill out a little bit. Highway is ruining my life. Yeah, Jack Axton doesn't carry a weapon. But it's fun to see them snap, Endor. It's really fun to see people flail like that, though, because like it's always fun to see somebody come in and be like, Star Citizen's a scam, and then you start like talking with them, and after about 5 minutes they're just repeating the same stuff over and over again because they realize it's the I'm not owned as I slowly turn into a banana or corn or whatever, a corn cob. It's that meme. It's essentially what it is. That's not true, Tom. You can carry a gun in plain clothes. You just got to keep it in your pocket. You can fix any stupid, but you cannot fix stupid if someone is willingly ignorant. If someone is willingly ignorant of something, there's nothing you can do to educate them on anything. Why is paying off pirates just a bad thing? You keep your cargo and still make some money. I earnestly think that the best way of dealing with pirates is not actually paying them, but keeping cargo on board to give them. If you know you're going to go through an area where pirates were going to stop you, you always keep a certain amount of cargo, which you can lose that pirates might want. Like, for instance, in Pyro, pirates would probably need things like fuel or medical supplies or food. And so having some section of your cargo that you just write off as a loss that you could possibly sell if no one stops you, and just when they stop you, go, I've got stuff you want. I'll give you some of my stuff. Let me go on the rest of my way. I'll let you keep the rest of the stuff for your own operations, and I'll go on. With cargo factory that is live, but right now, that's true. It doesn't work right now, but you can actually carry a gun in Star Citizen right now. In plain clothes. You just have to put it in the pockets. You can always fix ignorance with forced exposure. Pirates aren't always interested in being bodyguards, though. Why isn't water and O2 commodities? They're just not in there yet. They're under consumer products or whatever. Rum, always carry rum. I'm telling you, I promise Mario Paint won't kill you or try to take your Candy Crush game, or you won't die there. Prison security guards don't need their to carry a gun. They should probably had more guns. It was just one of them, I swear, 2 times, but who's counting? Viva la revolution! No, somebody earlier was saying you can't even carry guns in plain clothes. It's like, yeah, you can. As I am a career scumbag, we are always for rent. It depends. It heavily depends. Like, for instance, as a smuggler, somebody who's going to participate in extra legal activity, extra legal trading, as it were. Pirates are customers. because they can't get things that I can, as long as I stay under the radar. So having pirates as friends is a good thing, just not making them your best friends, because that's a dangerous thing. Hey, DJ! Welcome everyone from DJ's stream. Hey, you buddy, were you playing some Halo? Some low hay? Hey, Smashley. I am a pirate queen, and you are friends with me. That is true. This is true there, Smash. Jeff, Smashley, welcome everybody. You're watching the Game Awards. Nice. This is the way. This is the way. Thank you, Cupan. Welcome everyone from Flagship. My name is Paul. I am a space bartender, and we're doing our little AMA kind of talking about Star Citizen stuff. So if you want to talk about Star Citizen, we can talk a little bit about Star Citizen. But how was the Game Awards? I saw that they announced an Expanse Telltale game. Just DJ rating? Because he's the boss? You had your own commercial again? Was it the Jersey Mike's or was it another one? Later, DJ. Have a good night, man. It was a commercial promoting DJ. Nice. All right, Pilot. Thanks for hanging out, man. For those of you who are watching, we're also hanging out. The Pilot on YouTube, Elite Dangerous content creator, has moved over to Star Citizen recently, so. It was Gillette. Thank you, DJ. We'll pull that up here. Hold on.
An ice cream won't touch.
Okay. Gonna have to do this.
Oh, hi. I'm DJ Knight. An ice cream won't touch.
Oh, they gotta hate me right now, and I love it. My focus is primarily joy. Everybody has the potential to be cynical about everything.
This game sucks. I hate it, and I hate everything in it.
It's easy to do that. It's much more enjoyable to find the good. A lot of that started when I was in the military. Finding out that people shot rockets at your plane, it's a reminder that nothing is promised. Do you want to look back on your life into negativity or focus on the good?
Oh, hi.
Very cool. Very cool. That was very cool. Awesome there, DJ. Have a good night, man. Very cool. Very cool. Good night there, Outlaw Man. Thanks for coming in. I mean, Brandon was hosting, wasn't he? He was hosting the Game Awards. He's one of the 3 hosts. I know so many people involved now. I don't know how I feel about it. It's weird and cool, yeah. Good to see you hanging out there, Jeff. Hopefully the Gravlev rework is fixing the head of the Cutlass while loading a Dragonfly. Yeah, I hope that too. Waiting for that pirate jab, yeah. It's just getting started. Oh, yeah. Well, welcome, everybody. If you enjoy space and science fiction like I do, welcome to the Astropub. We do mostly Star Citizen, but I've done New World with Smoosh here for far too much. But I'm, Halo, I'll probably do that at some point. Definitely going to do some of the 40K stuff that comes out. There's lots of space games coming out that we play, so join us for that. We were just talking about things like pirate economics, yes. We've also done the Star Citizens. We have. Smush actually sat next to me in the 2018 CitizenCon. We sat together. I saw you were, yeah, I rated you earlier when you were doing doing mining in the what belt was it called? The Air and Halo. Yeah. Gravlev reworked for perfect time to release the Star Citizen Dragonfly. A Star Kitten Dragonfly. Yes, the Star Kitten Dragonfly. Yes, good Halo lore. I might do some Halo lore. I'm thinking about branching out into other lore. We'll see though. Oh, thank you, Lala. Fellow teacher. Did they announce Space Marine 2? Yes! We're playing Space Marine 2. I heard that they were gonna. Let me look it up. Real quick. I had heard that they had done something, but okay. I know this is doing Star Citizen stuff, but this is relevant to all of your interests.
Company command! This is first platoon! We've lost the square! We can't hold it!
It is a good time to be a space gamer. It is a good time to be a science fiction gamer. Holy shit. Oh. That's very good. Ultra Smurfs. See, the only thing I hope is that it's co-op. If the single player campaign has some co-op elements, mwah. Fucking Primaris Lieutenants. Oh yeah. It looks like Space Con. It's not. God damn it. Space Marine. Yes. They didn't bring up Starfield. Yeah, we're doing Starfield lore soon as well. We're going to definitely be delving into Starfield lore before everything else started. Can't get away from Primaris Lieutenants. Homeworld 3, yeah. Quantic's doing a narrative Star Wars campaign. Yeah, the 3, right? what is it? Total War Warhammer 3. Also new Star Trek game. This is a video series, not a game, but yeah. One great game will look. Oh, I mean this isn't too bad. This is pretty on brand for what this is what Space Marine 1 looked like. It's not too far off from that. It looks like it's Space Marine 1 with updated graphics, possibly, hopefully, some better stuff as well. But that's not too far off from what we've seen it. Thanks, Sticker. Captain America mixed with Iron Man? Yeah. Sci-fi horror? Yeah. There's a couple of good Star Trek games out there. There's not a lot, but there's a couple good ones. The VR Bridge Commander was really good. Or Bridge Crew was really good. Even the story's pretty good. JFC? Who's JFC? I'm trying to remember. John Crew? I don't see John Crew quitting 40K. Yeah, Star Trek Online's not bad. It's a little, yeah, but it's not bad. All right, y'all. I think that's a great way of ending the night. We're going to call it a night. Thank you so much for watching us here at the Astro Pub. We're going to end this with this announcement. I'm going to talk about this real quick. Tomorrow, we're doing a fundraiser for charity. That's right. It's a group called PAVE, specifically Shattering the Silence. This is it's a kind of a group founded by survivors.org, which is dedicated to preventing abuse, domestic and mental, etc., and supporting survivors worldwide through social advocacy, education, and survivor support. This includes any type of survivors of mental or physical trauma, no matter who they are or where they are. And they're a network of people. We're raising money for them. Our goal is $3,500. This community has done it before. I think you can do it again. And we've got some great some cool stuff we'll be doing. I'll do some giveaways as well, but we'll be doing some let me look at the stuff. We're going to do a pub quiz if we reach $500, which means that I will do a live quiz, a lore quiz, where whoever wins the lore quiz, I will give a special prize. I'm going to create Redeemer lore on the spot if we reach 1,000. Then we're going to do some missions in Star Citizen. Like I'll be doing the Find the Body mission if we reach 1,500 with creepy music in the background because I hate that mission. Then we'll do a waste disposal mission. I forgot what like it's something to deal with waste disposal because we don't do this. At 2,000 to 2,500, I'll be doing a box mission that is driving only. I will pick up a box and I will drive it to the location. That's right. The last thing we'll be doing my normal kind of gameplay in Star Citizen, but with a max crime stat. If we reach 2,000, and if we reach $5,000, it's our ultimate stretch goal. Raising $5,000 for charity. I will do a special stream. I will bring people on and we will watch the entirety of the Star Citizen holiday live stream from 2016. The Cursed live stream. A live reaction to it with other people from the community. Gonna do it. So join us for that. We'll be doing some giveaways as well for that. So we're raising good money across. We'll be going way into the night. We're probably not going to be streaming on Saturday as a result, but there'll be some other cool stuff as well. So, and I believe, I think I can say this, the person who does the top donator, the person who donates the most money will get a special, very limited, because only a few people have this, Astropub laser engraved shot glass. I will send you a laser engraved shot glass. So yeah, come join us tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern, here at the Astropub, going into the wee hours of the morning. So, yeah, IRL loot. Thank you again for joining us. Remember to watch the latest Galactic Historian on regeneration. I think it's pretty good. I could have done better on some of the editing, but I think it's still pretty good. And like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black. And remember, Ex Historia ad Astra.